And ladies and gentlemen, we are back right here on the number one rated business show. Switching gears just a little bit today, and we're going to be talking about politics.
Politics.
Bringing her back by special demand. She's been on the show several times before, and now we close to vote.
We're close. We're currently in early voting, so if you hadn't voted, you need to get started.
so joining me to the program, the one and only Miss Taurus Madric Morris.
Woo! Thanks for having me, Casey. I'll be my own audience. Woo!
There you go. We need them votes now.
Yeah, so it's always good being up here with you, giving the great information that you always give.
Now, the last time we talked, we were talking about, shaping up the race and this type of stuff. I know you still have some debates to get through, but now we actually voting.
Yes.
How's it going for you?
It is going as well as can expect it.
Okay.
Because, we spoke about this before, the demographics of it being a red county already. Yeah. So it's already an uphill battle, but the people are showing up and showing out. The helpers are, when they talk about voter apathy, that must be other counties, because our county is about that. They're about the cause right now. I know I was even speaking at an event with the with leader Stacey Abrams on Sunday at the Dallas Theater. The Republicans were out there protesting. I'm like, they even showed up. Yeah. I felt honored. Actually, I knew them. I called them by name. Hey, so what y'all doing out here? So by the time we came back through after intermission, they were gone. But I say everybody's showing up these days.
But the demographics of Paulding County is changing a lot. It's not like it used to be. So you're starting to see a bigger mix of diversity in the area. You got, Latino families, you got Black families, you got actual African families, you got, white, you got a little bit of everybody. So I think you got probably the best chance this year that you will ever have.
That I would ever have. Well, it's still growing, but it's a melting pot. It's starting to look like a melting pot, which is starting to look like what America looks like. But don't get it twisted. It's just specifically, you're still on the Douglasville side. So let me say that I'm running for commissioner post 3. And so with my area, it's that Douglasville address, the Powder Springs, and the Hiram of Paulding County. And so people are coming down through the tracks, and it's looking scary for certain demographics. But it's great in creating that diversity in our community. And I think it was harder in the beginning when I ran in 2018, because like I said, first, they didn't know what was going on. Yeah. And I always say it's great to have exposure, because as they're seeing diversity as their neighbors and what it looks peaceful, and it looks like unity, and it looks great once you get to know people.
On the outskirts.
Right. Now, if all the information about different segments is on the news, then it looks scary for you. But as you're starting to meet new neighbors, my message is to Unite Paulding. So if you've rode through Paulding, you've seen the purple signs that says Taurus Morris Unite Paulding.
I seen somebody taking your signs down. I ain't gonna say that.
They've been taking my signs down. I'm going to the police station tomorrow because I'm filing charges because I got an identification.
I'm blaming.
So, and y'all know these signs are expensive. Yes.
That's wrong.
That's wrong. So if it's in your houses or in your cars, I'm not
taking your Marjorie White signs down. I'm just saying.
I mean, the disrespect is out there as well. But that's all right. We're gonna hold them accountable. Who I know. Okay.
But explain to people what the importance of what the commissioner or what Paulding County commissioner does, especially the specific post 3 that you're running for. What is that gonna do, and how's that gonna benefit people in Paulding County? Because I'm in that Hiram, Douglasville, area. That's my area. So how's that gonna benefit folks like me?
Like you, or a couple of things. What the commissioner does is control what comes in and what goes out of the county. Okay. So when you see builders building, businesses coming in, any type of corporation, any type of equity for the county, the commissioner controls that equity. Okay. From your roads, highways, byways, like I said, your housing, any type of building. So what my focus is, one of my focuses is diversifying that equity, because we know that those bids go to certain classes. Oh, yeah. So it's not about race or anything like that. Sometimes I tell people it's who you know. And if they don't know you, then the bid goes to who they know. And so if we diversify the leadership and able to, that's going to help us diversify that equity, because now we can spread the wealth throughout Paulding County. Now, I mentioned builders. Right now, you have builders coming in and they throwing up these houses, but they're overpopulating our schools. Yep. And they're leaving us with no sidewalks, no access, no good access to roadways. And so we need to hold these builders accountable. And so the traffic is coming, but you got to create balance when you're putting up houses. Paulding County is a self-proclaimed bedroom community. Okay. And so with that, they're building those subdivisions, but they're not accounting for what that means. So you're bringing people, which means people have children. Children are overpopulating the schools. And so now you got to look at education, like it controls everything.
No, I've actually seen it for myself because, we've been out here for a long time. Ever since I've had kids, I've been out here. And I've seen, my child's classroom sizes increased dramatically.
Yes.
I remember back when she used to be in the classroom with about 15, 16 kids, which was awesome. That gave them a lot of attention. Now these teachers are having to deal with 20, 30 kids.
Absolutely.
And it's a much different dynamic in that classroom.
Yes. And education is what changed the environment.
Oh, yeah.
So if they're worrying about safety issues and the changing of environment, that's going to be focusing on the education of our youth, of our students. Not only that, when you talk about safety, builders are coming in and not even putting in sidewalks. And so sidewalks,
I'm so sick of that.
I'm sick of that too, because that means that's a safety issue, but it's also
always in the road.
But also health, because it's proven that communities with sidewalks have healthier people. Because people are able to get out and walk and enjoy, their livelihood and stuff like that. So people think it's just a sidewalk, but sidewalks mean health, and health is wealth.
No, that's a different perspective. I never even thought about it like that.
Yes.
I just see all these kids on these bicycles and playing in the street and this type of having to walk down the streets and this type of stuff. It's just not safe for them.
It's not safe for them. And that's the main thing. That's the first thing people want to holler, the kids. Well, we got to look at not only the education, the sidewalks that go out there. We need to look at the families as far as the taxes have gone up, the property taxes. Why have your property taxes going up? Your property taxes are going up again because Paulding County is trying to hold on to the old thought of being a bedroom community, and they're charging the residents the taxes instead of providing resources like bringing small businesses and corporations to offset those burdens. And so my goal, I always say the squeaky wheel gets the oil. We already been approved for the grant because we don't have water in the ground for corporations to come.
That's true.
And so now we have to focus on the infrastructure specifically for Post 3. And you said yourself, you live around Post 3 or in Post 3.
Unincorporated Douglasville. We ain't got some type of resources.
Right. We don't. And so when you bring the water, then we can bring the businesses. And I tell people what businesses look at, they look at the leadership in Paulding County and they look at the diversity in the leadership to see if the leadership reflects the community. So it all plays a part on why this is an important race. I talk to residents right now and they don't go to the meetings, the school board meetings, the commissioner meetings, the any of the county meetings because they don't feel a part.
Yeah.
And so if you create
that's your job as a citizen, though. You got to make yourself a part of the community. You can't just wait on the invitation because trust me, you ain't gonna get invited.
That's like it's also their civic duty to vote. But for some reason, we got to convince them and engage them and talk them into why it's important to vote. That's so true. These things should come naturally, but for some reason they don't because we've been taught a long time ago that your vote don't count. It doesn't matter. Well, if it doesn't matter, why are we fighting for it? Why are protesters out there? Why are people undermining your vote? So if it didn't matter, they wouldn't fight for it.
That's true.
So and what they need to understand what the vote means, the vote is the power because the power put the person in the seat. And the person in the seat create the decisions or where your income goes. Oh, yeah. So when you're talking about those property taxes, living in Hiram area, Hiram really creates 70% of the wealth for Paulding County. However, they get the least amount of the budget because Dallas have the more of the population. And so they are charging the people the property taxes while we're creating.
Amazing because like if you look at the town of Dallas and the city of Dallas, is so much growth over there. Mm-hmm. And then you look at Hiram, we still just straddling on 278. That's it.
We're straddling.
And that's done. Because it's not like you got some of your staple businesses there. You got your Home Depot, your Super Target, your Walmart, and this type of stuff. But you're not seeing a big, huge influx of new businesses coming to the table. It's like it's just some same old big, those big brand names that we used to.
I think they're coming though, because the road is being expanded to a 6-way highway.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that next because it's like now that they're widening out the roads, you're starting to see what it was amazing what it's done to get to the interstate now, coming up Fairmont Road and this type of stuff.
Yes.
Like literally, instead of having to deal with that railroad track, deal with downtown, this type of stuff, you can literally get to 20 in like 10 minutes.
It's amazing. I was wondering how they were going to do that. And I remember before they was coming up with the plans, and I'm like, how is that going to happen? So it's amazing to watch how the plans are.
That when they was making the plans.
Yeah. And then they redid it, and then they redid it again. But
as we started to move into Paulding County, though, and it's sad you see liquor stores getting developed and this type of stuff.
Jeez.
But as we move into Paulding County and you see them widen out the roads, now we're starting to have a much better transit system. What is that going to do is that just going to bring more housing and more people just to live out here? Or should we see a bigger collection of commercial business start to come to the table?
Unfortunately and fortunately, it's going to cause an influx of people. Like our population in Paulding County is rising at an astronomical rate. Like, I remember when it was only like 70,000 voters. Now it's like 127,000 registered voters. So those numbers are increasingly going up year by year. Now it's going to take active planning so that we don't feel congested. I love Cobb, but coming down Cobb, it's going to be like 10 minutes every light. Yeah. And we don't want that. So we have to come up with plans on those roadways, dealing with the DOT. And like I said, it's proper planning. In the past, people just come up with an ideal and just think it's a great idea and they'll do it. But without diversity on the panel to really walk through these ideals on what that means for the population, you're wasting taxpayer dollars and you're getting them frustrated because you're not thinking of how that impacts to you. Oh, yeah. When you're thinking of the six, like you see how the highways, if they don't do it correctly, like my prediction, if I'm in the seat, I see growth in economical development and wealth for the population. But if they don't implement the water and the infrastructure, then that won't happen. You'll just be frustrated with going down an empty road with maybe a couple of older buildings. So it has to be plans in place that can really see, I guess, my niche and my background. I'm a business owner. Currently the owner of Douglasville Boxing Club for the past 13 years, the brick and mortar by the railroad tracks, but I also teach business in operations. I'm an instructor for business and marketing. Okay. So when it comes to understanding how business work and infrastructure and the things that need to go in, it's amazing when you talk to young people and they're just like, I'm gonna be an entrepreneur. I'm gonna be rich. I'm gonna be a business owner. I'm like, okay, how are you gonna do that?
I'm happy for you. Don't end that way for most of them.
Okay. But everybody has an idea without a plan. And that's what we've been experiencing with Paulding County, ideas without an intricate plan on the what ifs that's going to happen, which is why we're overpopulated. People are complaining about their property taxes. They're complaining about the school systems and the overflowing of schools and just really how the dynamic of
that affects people though.
It affects
because
everything.
A lot of us got, these mortgage loans and this type of stuff. And when the property taxes start to go up, the mortgage starts to go up. You're in a high inflationary period. Then these interest rates now are sky high, so it's affecting people that can actually buy decent houses or can move to other areas and this type of stuff. So it matters.
It matters. I mean, the mortgage industry, of course, they had to increase that rate to slow down the buy-in of those homes. But in that, corporations are buying up properties. And what I'm doing right now is speaking to homeowners to let them know they need to change their bylaws to only allow a certain amount of renters in their communities. Because when you have corporations buying up your property, I know it looks great in the beginning because you got a good deal because they're buying over market. However, they're going to flood it with, I always say people treat ownership differently than they do rentership. And so, but they're not only will it demise your area, but it's inflating your price of your property taxes. And that's why it's going up as well because of these corporations.
Oh yeah. No, I'm with you on that part because definitely I've seen neighborhoods get just destroyed behind having way too many rental properties in there. You got all these new folks coming in and out the neighborhood, and now all the folks that grew up here, we don't feel safe no more and this type of stuff because all these different influx of people. Here come new one, there go another one. So now I get it.
Yeah, and that's important. And you just said something very important where people are moving out of the county because of them being scared of they don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. Well, that's another reason why the message of Unite Paulding is so important because not everyone is one thing. Everybody want to put somebody in the box. And even being a Democrat, you want to put me in one box, but I like some other stuff in this box, and I like some stuff in this box too. And so once you get to know people as people, like we drive the same roads, we shop at the same neighborhood, our kids are in the same schools. Once you get to know people for who they are, you know that we're really not that much different, that other people are creating the chaos, and then we can really focus on the issues and really get some stuff done together.
Now what is your goals and what are your plans as becoming the next commissioner of Post 3 in Paulding County?
My active goal and plans is, for one, is to stop the rhetoric that's going on, that's causing division. I can't stand divisiveness. I can't stand chaos, because you can't hear anything over the noise. You can't get the message. You can't get anything done. So once we stop the rhetoric, again, by uniting Paulding, how do you unite Paulding? By creating conversations. And I always say conversation create community. So once we stop all the rhetoric, then we can focus on the issues. And like I said, the squeaky wheel always get the oil. So we got to get the water in the ground so that we can create small business opportunities as well as large corporations, so that we can offset the property taxes for the owner. So first and foremost, we need to stop the bleeding where people are losing money out their pockets because of this inflated cost. Now, speaking of inflated costs, don't get inflated costs mixed up with inflation, because businesses are at a record high, over 40% increase profits. So that's a more federal issue.
Transportation costs ain't that high. Right? We know.
Right, exactly. Especially when you have record numbers of profits. That means you're putting increase on you're pretty much price gouging. But when I'm talking about inflated costs, bringing those properties back at value, so that can bring your taxes back at value, and again bringing those businesses in to offset that cost, so that can alleviate the burden from you. So money is the main thing. People can holler red and blue all day, but green is what they're looking at, how it affects their pockets.
It's funny. I listen to a lot of political shows, and Eric Erickson was saying today, it's the same old thing. It's like people always want to talk about democracy and this type of stuff, but people will always vote with the economy, period. At the end of the day, it's about the dollars that's going into my pocket.
Exactly.
And if you hurt my pockets, then I'm gonna vote against you. It is what it is.
That's what it is. You hurt my pockets, you hurt me, you hurt my family.
I can't take care of my family if I ain't got no money.
That part. So that's the main thing.
So as we coming down 92 and this type of stuff, what type of businesses would you be looking more to put them up towards 278, or would you be looking at that whole little corridor coming up 92 before you get to hire them right when you pass that Paulding County sign? Because that's what means the most to me.
I'm with you. I was about to say that is an important opportunity. I don't even eat out like that, because in order for me to eat out, I got to drive about 15, 20 minutes just to a restaurant. All the way to Hiram. So,
or either back to Douglasville, one or the other.
I asked my daughter.
Either way.
I thought I was being nice one Friday. I'm like, what do y'all want to go eat? And they was like, Food Depot? I was like, no, like to a restaurant, because we don't have restaurants or we don't have anything up in our corridor.
They finally built that. They out of all things, they built a Taco Bell over there on Ridge Road, and I'm like, that's not something that everybody eats. I understand we like Taco Bell and this type of stuff, but you could have gave us a little bit a Wendy's or something. You know what I'm saying?
Not Wendy's either. Let's think of no.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I can understand, some of them folks over there, like you got I can't remember the sports grill thing. It's not Tops, but you got the sports grill bar out there. You got, Subway, you got what's the other one? The Pizza Hut and this type of stuff. But we like to see something a little bit more family oriented coming into the area.
Exactly.
Like,
so we're looking at I would be looking at those small business opportunity. I believe in shopping union, because that supports America. I believe in the United States. I believe in shopping local small businesses. Because small businesses really is what controls the economy.
That's one big thing that you don't have. And I just said this to somebody the other day. You don't have any of that type of stuff in Hiram, for real.
You don't.
It's like all you got is these big brand names. You got your Taco Max, you got your Old Charlie's and this type of stuff. But it's not like
old money. Those warehouses are old money.
but you don't have like the culture that you have in Atlanta. Like you go to Atlanta, you got so many different experiences that you can have. But out here, it's like, I'm gonna go to Charlie's tonight.
But you know what? Sick of that. That's not a bad. We don't want to be in Atlanta or a Cobb or any of that.
Atlanta, but
that's why we moved out here.
I would like to have some Hiram restaurant, just something that represent our area.
You're right.
I was just talking to a chef. Douglasville ain't got a food. Y'all know that?
They don't have a what?
Douglasville does not have a food.
Our food?
Yeah, you know how all these other areas, you got food that they famous for.
Yes.
Like for a long time, I think because of Ludacris, it was chicken and beer in Atlanta and this type of stuff. You go to what was another spot that's got famous food, like New Orleans. They're famous for, you know, that Cajun style.
We got Popeyes.
We ain't got nothing in Douglasville. I don't think they got a good chicken recipe, like for real.
We don't, and those are opportunities. And you know what's going to create those opportunities is education. Yep. Where people, I was so disappointed, and not even talking Douglasville. I mean, Douglasville rings close to my heart because my business is out here. I teach out here, and then I'm close on that line. I also love Paulding County because I've been there for almost 20 years, so that's home. But we have to educate business owners. I was so disappointed when the Sherry's Barbecue went out of business. Okay, brand new business, but. And I don't know what happened. I'm not sure. So I don't want to guesstimate, but we have to have educational sessions with operations and how businesses work. So I believe if the county is trying to stimulate the equity in the county and we're supporting local and small businesses, we need to be able to support them with the education on sustainability and longevity. And if that's helping with a business plan, if that's helping with finances, financial planning, if that's helping with marketing. I know a lot of people don't join the chamber, but the business chamber may be a good opportunity, or different organizations, but we have to teach that piece on how to promote small businesses to be in the business for the long haul.
No, that's true, because I don't think there's enough in our community. It's like we get in such a competitive nature with each business and this type of stuff, but we don't realize the more businesses that we have, then the better we are, and the more that we're going to get our own customers coming in, just because we got other businesses surrounding us and this type of people.
Yeah, it's not a competition. Everybody, like you mentioned, has a niche. So you mentioned New Orleans style. You mentioned some people like soul food, barbecue. There's so many different varieties. It's not a competition. It's a community, if that's what we're trying to create. And it's supporting each other. But like you mentioned, even with Hiram, trying to revitalize people going to downtown Hiram. Why you laughing at me? I wasn't throwing shade. I love downtown Hiram.
That is not a thing.
But if you go look for it, you may pass it. But
because all it is a courthouse. Like, for real. Once you pass that courthouse, I don't know.
Got a little post office. I don't even think it's running. I don't know, but we have to revitalize what downtown means.
I forget that side down there. I gotta be honest.
Because you go right past
it. Once you pass Walmart and all that type of, there's no reason to go no further unless you gotta go to court.
Right. I'm just saying. So, but yes, that's an opportunity. When they say downtown, we want to create a downtown that you can bring your families, you can hang out, that type of safe atmosphere, creating the environment of community. Yeah. But again, that's small business support and getting people.
I'm tired of folks joking on us talking about we be cow tipping on Friday night. Like, for real, we got other stuff to do out here. Go hire one.
Woo, I'm with you on that.
I'm hoping they do well. You know they changed the game Thursday night.
I heard, yes.
I'm so tired of y'all keeping my daughter up midnight and 1 o'clock in the morning, because I got to get up the next day.
I'm with you.
It's not fun.
The band is no joke. Their schedule is like.
Oh yeah.
I thought I was busy. Yes, all of that. And even the politics with the schools with the bands, that's a different issue. But just bringing up the issues in the school systems. And I'm gonna bring it up because why not? That's what I do. I'm going to say the word microaggression.
Okay.
And so when you have a school that's visiting another school and the leadership is like, we have to get out of here. It's not safe.
Oh yeah.
And then my daughter is like, what's not safe about it? Yeah. It's just Black people. And you have people crying like something's really about to happen.
No,
and you're getting the students out early, because normally y'all out to about 11, 12 o'clock. Okay. But you feel unsafe. You heard the story? So now the kids are like panicked, anxiety, getting on the bus, trying to get back out to Paulding. And all it was a Black school. Yeah. With band kids. So microaggression, when you create that fear in people, you created a ghost fear.
Oh, yeah.
You created someone being afraid of a certain demographic just for being. And that's our leadership.
That's so disappointing, because I really expected a lot more.
I
really did. I thought we were in a different era and this type of stuff, because I remember, so many times I tell folks the story all the time, Both, matter of fact, I remember me going through this in the 5th grade, and now both of my daughters have done it. So I already know this is an actual thing. It's like a lot of the way that they take Black history in school and this type of stuff, and how they gloss over us in history. And it's like so many times my daughter asked me, like, we never talk about Black people. The only people we talk about is Martin Luther King, yes. And that's about it. Other than that, it's like all they do is teach us about white people, and that's so unfair.
It's unfair, but they consider it as the messaging. They teach it that means you hate America if you talk about history. And I know that's off topic, but and I'm not for, and I would even say I'm not for them teaching the critical race theories, because who is teaching our kids? I don't want you to teach my kids anything.
But I'm saying you couple with this lack of being taught your own or seeing yourself in history whatsoever in this country, and then you couple that with this whole made up fear that y'all have every time that y'all get around more Black folks than it is y'all. It's like, what are you teaching our kids, and what is supposed to happen with the next generation?
Exactly.
Like, seriously, because all you're doing is reinforcing racism and fear and all the rest of this mess.
And that's why it's important to have that conversation. That's why I'm like, I know I shouldn't bring it up, but we have to bring it up, because again, that conversation is what creates community. Because you may not know that you're doing that, and you may not know that you're afraid, but you're afraid from what you've seen on the news across the country. But that's not our
you got community. Like, I call out Margaret White sitting out here talking about they trying to replace us, while you sitting here talking to this obviously complete white crowd, and then somebody got the nerve to say that's not racist. Get the hell out of here. That's like, for real.
I say they do not know. It got to be biblical. Forgive them, Father, for they do not know, because they really don't know. And this is not even shade, but ignorance is dangerous. And so, again, you're creating that microaggression of fear. Then that creates the racism and the prejudice, and that's what creates divisiveness. But if all you see is a threat, and just last week when I was talking about the little mini protest my daughter did and shutting down the band, I was a little proud, but I was like, don't go overboard. But
don't get yourself in trouble.
I told she ain't gonna get in trouble about me, but yeah, they canceled competition and everything. She just gave me a phone call, and I said, I stand with you. But again, if it was somebody else, you'd boy sit down, But because our color is weaponized or it's a threat, it's like a big to-do, and it's affecting our kids, because that was a good band kid with good grades, and just we don't want, and I'm passionate about the youth.
And at the end of the day, you should not see a Black kid or a white kid. You should see a little 15-year-old that don't know what they don't know no better, and is spouting off anger. It's sad that when that kid looks like you can understand, but when they don't, we get the same old treatment that we always have, and I'm so sick of that.
I'm sick of it. I mean, one of the things, because I have been, I've always been trying to build bridges and develop relationships, but one thing that the police department is trying to do is try to be more active with the community. But I think it's inevitable to judge something you just haven't grown up with and that you don't know.
I'm sorry, it is 2022, almost 2023. Ain't no way in hell you ain't grow up with Black folks. I'm just saying, all of us can grow up with Black folks at this point.
Do you see what
just leadership? Like all of us can grow up with white folks. I'm not afraid of white people whatsoever. I'm around them constantly, and they're around me constantly. And I know I'm light skinned, but still.
I know.
I'm just saying. It's no longer an excuse, especially in this country. It's not an excuse. And it's like you can promote all this negativity and all this type of stuff amongst each other and let our differences divide us all you want to, but all you're going to do is continue to destroy this country, because we can't fix it unless we all do it together.
And just let me put this out here, because it's not, I'm going to say it's not even, everybody, we're not a monolith. Everything's not the same. Not all white people are the same. Not all Black people are the same.
That's true.
Not all Hispanics are the same. And that's the problem. Everybody want to group, again, that box thing. I like stuff from different boxes. Exactly. I don't want just one box. But so there's good people in every demographic. I say bad people are just bad people. Mean people are just mean people. And so if we can create the conversation with open-minded people that can spread the message of good, we just have to start there. So I don't want to say anything is bad or a problem. It's just certain people with that mindset. You're just going to have ignorance anywhere. But we have to drive it out with light. Like Dr. Martin Luther King said, you got to drive out that darkness with light.
The first step is awareness, like for real.
Awareness.
If you don't know you're a racist bastard, and then we can do about it.
Let me explain why you.
Let me tell you about yourself.
Exactly.
If anybody wants to vote for you, support your campaign, especially now, y'all better get out there and vote for this woman.
Please.
Like for real, because we need her in post 3.
Please.
All right. So if anybody wants to vote for you, please let folks know how they can follow you and then exactly what name they need to check on that ballot.
The exact name on the ballot, because some of you all know me as Taurus Madric Morris, but on the ballot, I tried to make it easier and just put Taurus Morris. Okay, but if you want to follow me, you can find me on Facebook under Taurus Madric Morris. You can find me at my website, taurusmadricmorris.com. You'll find me on Instagram. You'll find me on any social media platform at this point besides TikTok, which I'm trying to get better with that. The kids are teaching me. But yes, taurusmadricmorris.com is my website to get more information on what's going on in Paulding and about me. But again, on your ballots, Taurus Morris, Commissioner Post 3.
And I promise y'all, everybody in Paulding County need to get out there and vote for this woman, especially if you're in Post 3. If you don't know if you're in Post 3, if you live in anywhere, Douglasville, Hiram, anywhere in between, you in that post, vote for Miss Taurus Morris. And do it tomorrow. Stop waiting, because I don't want to hear that I ain't want to stand in line that long and all that type of stuff. Like,
bring a friend. Yes.
And bring a friend and tell them to vote too. Yeah. Even if they don't live in the county. No, I'm telling you.
See? So it's that extra second.
But once again, thank you so much for joining us right here on the #1 Rated Business Show. You know you got my support, you got my back, you got my endorsement, anything you need.
Thank you.
I promise you. And we're going to be out there Thursday night, mad together, yelling for them Hiram Hornets.
Hiram Hornets.
I hope they be winning.
They're going to win, hopefully.
They say they're going to go to the playoffs if they win.
Let's see. I believe in y'all.
I believe in them too.
So let's do it.
They're doing a lot better this year because last year they were getting their tails stumped.
They are. I said it was because my daughter started playing band, and it's that spirit that she brought. That school spirit.
Oh, yeah. Might be up there right along with them.
Yes, that's why they winning, because of our daughters.
But thank y'all so much for joining us for your third edition of the #1 Rated Business Show today. Stay tuned. We got more and more coming. But like I say, please get out there to them polls. Please vote for Ms. Taurus Morris, especially if you're out here in our area in Post 3, Paulding County. Commissioner, we need this woman in office. We need change out here in this area. We need to bring more businesses to this area. And we damn need to lower these taxes. I'm tired of paying. So until we meet again, we are out. All right.
Ooh.
That was great.
It was. I mean, you float.
I can go.